Hey everybody, good afternoon. MLB Tonight, a little breaking news. Brian Kenny here with you. The Yankees have traded for Cody Bellinger, 2019 National League MVP. Fell on hard times, had some bad offensive seasons in 2021, 2022. Bounced back, had an outstanding year with the Cubs in 2023. Did not perform as well last year. Had a 111 OPS plus, was a 2.2 WAR player. So, right, he's mercurial at best, but he was once an 8.5 win player. He's always been a good fielder. He can field in center field. He can go to first base. This from Jeff Passan of ESPN. Bellinger has been traded. 29 years, going into his age 29 season, still in his prime. 2 years left on his contract with an opt-out after 2025. And the Yankees, as he says, continues to be aggressive after losing out on Soto. That's for sure. Devin Williams, Max Fried. Bellinger was, I'll get his money up here for a moment, $27.5 million is what he made in 2024, scheduled to make $27.5 this coming year. So it's that and cash. This is Cody Bellinger and cash. I believe it's John Heyman also tweeted out the exact amount. We'll get to that. For right-handed reliever Cody Poteet. So John Heyman reported it's $5 million. So it's Cody Poteet, who pitched 24 innings for the Yankees last year, 2.22 ERA. Again, was effective, didn't pitch all that much. He's bounced around left and right. But the Yankees get Cody Bellinger, who can be an elite talent. He's still quite a good fielder. Whether he's an excellent hitter or merely a good hitter remains to be seen. How about this from Jim Bowden, who says Bellinger will play center field with Aaron Judge moving back to right. That is interesting. Bellinger is always, I guess I mentioned, he's been a very good fielder all throughout, even when he struggled at the plate. That kept his value up when he was able to sign that contract with the Cubs. Aaron Judge, who could hold it down in center field, but was basically below league average if you look at the defensive metrics. And in right field, he's been a dominant player. So the Yankees continue to acquire talent and top-end talent, and they add another, again, possibly a quality bat. 2 years ago, I'll go through his numbers. He had a very different slash line, Cody Bellinger. Hit 307, had a 356 on base, 525. That's an all-star and more. That's an outstanding offensive player. That's 4.5 wins for the season if you go by wins above replacement. He only played 130 games, but again, he's versatile. He hit for average, takes his base, steal bases as well. 2 years ago, he stole 20 bases. But again, he came back to the pack just last year, played another 130 games, still had 569 plate appearances. But again, the offense has gone up and down. Again, his OPS plus at 100 is league average. He was only 111 last year. Normally, just to set it up, if you're a baseball fan, you follow this stuff, you know, that's not the type of player that makes $27.5 million a year. Now, the guy that was hitting the year before, that guy makes $27 million a year. Certainly, when he was the MVP in 2019, he looked like he was going to be the type of guy that got top-end money for a long, long period of time. John Heyman joins us right now. John, thank you for joining us here. Why don't you give us what you know about the trade and fill us in on the particulars?
Yes, Cody Bellinger and $5 million go to the Yankees for Cody Poteet, pitcher who actually pitched pretty well for the Yankees when he was in there. They were negotiating over the money for more than a week. We knew that Bellinger was the best fit for the Yankees because he can play first base, he can play left field, he can play center field, any of those positions. And it does feel like there's a good chance he will be an outfielder for the Yankees, as they've been looking at a ton of other first basemen as well, from Naylor to Goldschmidt, Lowe, Alonso, Walker, Santana. The list is rather long. So more moves to come for the Yankees, but certainly they are recovering nicely from the Juan Soto defection to the Mets.
What does the industry think of his mercurial offensive performance, John?
Well, you know what? Last year, he was much better on the road than at Wrigley. It seemed like a lot of folks had trouble hitting at Wrigley for whatever reason. He had a very nice year in 2023. He was certainly above average last year. Was not up to 2023 or up to certainly the MVP seasons. I think he had those really bad seasons. He was hurt for those seasons. So I would throw those out. But he's obviously not quite back to the MVP form, but he is certainly a good offensive player and an outstanding defensive player, whether it be in the outfield or first base. And I think at this point, I think they're leaning outfield. They haven't really committed on that. They could go either way depending on who else they get, but they have been looking at a ton of other first basemen, including Pete Alonso and Christian Walker.
Oh, you saw Sarah Langs had put that up there that I guess Bellinger would have had more home runs hitting in a better home run hitting environment in Yankee Stadium where he'll be. The defensive metrics, by the way, for Bellinger have him about league average, a little bit better. He used to be top shelf. He was once, I think, 2019 again, his MVP season. He was plus 16 or plus 18. Can't quite read that. Either way, that's elite. So, yeah, John, I can't quite see it. That's elite either way. But I guess the feeling is, again, industry-wise, when you speak to coaches, scouts, is the feeling that he can still hold it down or excel in center field?
Yeah, I mean, he's still considered above average, certainly at first base and in center field as well. I think most people might consider him even better at first base than in center field, but he's above average. This gives the Yankees the chance to move Judge to right field. I would say that's the way they're probably leaning now with Judge and Dominguez, assuming Dominguez can make it next year, playing center and left and looking at a first baseman. I would say that's probably the most likely, even though I think generally Bellinger is considered even better at first base than the outfield, which is where he came up. But he's got a terrific arm, very good speed, and no reason he can't be above average in the outfield.
You would think. Yeah, again, sometimes the defensive metrics can be conflicting. Here, outs above average, which is the StatCast metric, pretty much agrees with defensive runs saved. Both are, considered two of the better metrics that are out there. So basically, I'm sure that he can hold it down, even if he's not as plus as he used to be. As far as his contract, so there's a buyout in 2 years, but we're looking at the next 2 years, 27.5 per, correct?
27.5 and then 25 in the following year. So that's 52.5 over the 2 years.
Okay.
And the Cubs will be contributing $5 million. I know they were kind of haggling over that over the last couple weeks, but it feels like the Yankees probably gave in on that, right? Because it's only $5 million that's going from the Cubs to the Yankees. I mean, this is the guy who fit the Yankees. I don't know if they heard there were other teams involved or not. I have not really seen anybody seriously involved. There was speculation on a few other teams, but I mean, this guy is perfect for the Yankees, right? Because he plays the outfield, he plays first base, play left, he can play center. Makes perfect sense. They still need to do some work positionally, obviously, because the infield at this point is the question.
John, you sound excited. You're talking about a guy like he's still an impact player. He was once a top impact player. He's still good. But if that's the case, if you're positive on him, if a lot of people in baseball are positive on him, then why would the Cubs, having just traded for Kyle Tucker, even if there's talent around, why wouldn't they keep talent there as they make their push?
Well, it gives them flexibility. Certainly Tucker takes up another outfield spot. They have Bush, who did a nice job at first base. So right now it doesn't really look like he's got a great spot because certainly Bellinger's not a DH, right? He's above average, I believe, defensively at first or in the outfield. So they're giving themselves some flexibility. I think the Cubs still have more moves to make. They're certainly in on some pitching. We've heard them speculated to be in on Castillo and some other pitchers. I still think they're doing more things. So I think, certainly Tucker is a better offensive player than Bellinger at this point. So they have upgraded offensively and can't fault them for that.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I know as the Cubs move forward, I know it's a very crowded outfield situation. It makes sense. And Bellinger wasn't great last year. He was just good. But still, there is some talent there. Good all-around player. And as the Cubs, they're pushing forward, the slight surprise. And that only Cody Poteet went back the other way. One last thing, John. You covered Clay Bellinger, obviously, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Was there a previous, grandfather Bellinger you covered too?
No, only Clay Bellinger. And the great thing about Clay Bellinger is he made the World Series every year he played. Go back and look at his career record.
Yeah.
4 years, even when he got traded to the Angels, they won the World Series. So, I mean, either very fortunate or very instrumental in helping his teams get to the World Series and win the World Series.
His dad was a flat-out winner. There's no doubt. All right, good stuff.
Absolute winner.
I was thinking Clay Bellinger played long ago. Again, 1999, 2000. That's not that long ago for me either. John, great stuff. Thank you for filling in.
All right, BK, thanks.
All right, John Heyman there. Again, that's not all that long ago. They've been cooking this up since 2017. So there's a young Cody Bellinger there on the left with Aaron Judge, and then Giancarlo Stanton, who was revitalized in the playoffs last year. So that is that's the outfield. Well, depending on if Stanton is going to be out there. in the outfield. He'll probably be designated hitter. But interesting, Cody Bellinger against, again, just not that long ago, 2019, led the league, the National League in WAR, led the league in total bases. He hasn't been that player since, but still a lot of upside. He's only age 29 coming up, and the Yankees make a trade, just giving up Cody Poteet, $5 million to get Cody Bellinger and put another former All-Star or an All-Star out on their field. All right, we'll step away for a moment, but we're back here top of the hour, 6 o'clock Eastern time. I'll be out here with Dan Plesac. We'll have more reaction throughout the baseball world as the Yankees continue to load up. They trade for Devin Williams. We'll dig into him. We'll talk Max Fried, Cody Bellinger joining the Pinstripes, the American League champions. Much more coming up on MLB Tonight, top of the hour.